There you go, friends. Doc South here, and all of a sudden it just hit me. I don't think I've ever touched base with you on my school days. And Lord, I guess from kindergarten to college days, that would carry the three multiplied by two. I don't know. It was a lot of years that I was in a classroom one way or another, or or well, no, very seldom did I get thrown out of a classroom. It was pretty rare that I had to go stand in the corner or go see the principal about one thing or another. I tried real hard to be good. I think we all did, truth be known. Of course, we goofed up royally many a day back in those days. But the thing is, I was a baby boomer. Yeah, I was born, let's see, in 1946. So the war was over. All the soldiers came home. Luckily, or so many did, thank heaven. And well, they 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 certainly had a girlfriend in mind, or they were looking for girls, and eventually got themselves married, and pretty soon having kids. And well, here we are. Of course, for me, let's see, that was darn near 80 years ago now. Well, I was born in 46. So, yeah, the war ended. My father was dating mom a little bit. He was a fighter pilot, flew Corsairs, um, and an airplane that was, well, a murderous airplane. And he and mom hit it off. And I don't know if they got married, but no, I think they got married right after the war. Pretty sure within reason. And it wasn't too much longer. I came along, and then a few years later, my brother Ed, my kid brother Ed, and well, we were a happy foursome. Actually, I got to say, I had really good parents, and my brother Ed's just top of the line, a great baby brother, shall we say. Of course, neither one of us are babies anymore. Geezers might be more like it. But no, it was, I can't kick. I'm trying to think. I'm going to go into this a little bit. When uh, growing up, what it was like, and school also. Many of my school teachers, etc. Trying to think. I think where I went to school, my very first school, was actually not a school. Because, again, remember, all these people came home from the war, all these guys, and some gals, and no, they were tired of war, and I can't say as I blame them. It had to be it looks romantic on the movies, but I imagine it was pretty awful. Having people shoot at you and you shooting at them couldn't have been much fun. And and I think with the war over, they wanted they wanted some love, a wife, and they wanted some kids. There you go. And that's in other words, they wanted a family, and damn the torpedoes. it in a way, exactly right. And I think my father met my mom at one of the um, one of the Marine Corps air bases. Mom was like a secretary in one of the offices, and I guess they must their eyes must have met at one place or another. I think mom actually I think her office was right near where they put all the crashed fighter planes. Hence, mom never really dug flying. I mean, even in a fancy jet and everything, she was always very nervous. My father, he cracked up two or three, but in obviously survived each wreck. Some of them were bad, but he somehow managed to get through it. He was always a very lucky person, and nothing he liked better, being lucky. Nothing he liked better than a good old crap game. And when he wasn't flying a plane, he was rolling them bones or chasing mom. And I guess it didn't take too long. War ended. I think my father mustered out of my mother and father got married while he was, I believe, still in the Marines. And there you go. And was like I said, it wasn't too long for, well, there I am. And which was just what they wanted, a kid. And they eventually give it a few years, and they had my brother Ed came along. And honestly, my parents had seen war. They had seen the horror of it. And like so many others of that generation, they were done with that baloney, and they wanted to have family and or jobs and a home, car, all that stuff. And that's what they did. They worked hard. They fought hard. They were happy to be out of the war, and they were very tickled to see peace, as near as I can tell from what I hear from talking to my two folks and many of their friends. That that war was, as far as they were concerned, had to be fought, but still it was a war and not necessarily the greatest thing on earth to be involved in. When the bullets start coming your way, it's a different ball game. I know there was one of our neighbors. We used to go. They'd have like a little barbecue on their porch or their backyard, and I'd go over, and this guy, Mr. Krex was his name, Tom, and he'd show us. He'd say, "Oh, here, look, kids, come on over here," and he'd have all these like hunks of metal in his arm. Uh-huh. And he'd say, "Here, get me my tweezers," and we'd run to Mrs. Krex and get the tweezers. Your Tom wants the tweezers. Said, "I mean, Mr. Krex, my husband? Yeah, he wants the. Tom said he wants the." She says, "Okay, you're supposed to call him Mr. Krex. He says he wants us to call him Tom." Okay, so we and you're Charlotte. Oh, she says, "Okay, you kids here. Here's the tweezers." Okay, I'm Charlotte. He's Tom, and so I bring the tweezers, and Mr. Krex would say, "Here, now let me show you how you get shrapnel out of your arm," and he yanks this hunk of metal out of his. Oh my God! I said, "Where'd you get that?" He says. So I'm lucky I didn't get it in my rear end, but or on my head. But he said that was a bomb went off near me. I was over in Europe fighting. Oh my God! I said, "Whoa!" He says, "You want it?" I said, "Yeah." So he plops it in my hand. I had a nice piece of shrapnel. That's what that crew was like. They saw war and they were done with it. But still, kind of like to tell their stories. And they're good people. I think bad as the war was, I think it did teach people peace might be the better way to go. And that's pretty much what they did. Developments popping up everywhere, schools right up to the, filled right to the brim. They couldn't build them fast enough. And in fact, most of our school time, we went half day because you had to have a morning shift, and then other kids came in for the afternoon shift. It was kind of like that. So, which was fine with me. It just meant we had more homework. We kind of had to rely in many cases on teaching ourselves a bit anyway, or certainly practicing our numbers and our spelling and like that. But it was good times. I think there was just this big sigh of relief that the war was over and baloney to wars. It's pretty much how it was. Anyway, God bless them. They were good people. I'm going to do what I can to go back to those different people and my folks, my relatives, and just, yeah, say a little something about them. I'm going to try to do that as best I can. So, there you go. We'll climb the family tree. That would be me on the tree. Yeah, I'll see you later. God bless. And I hope your family was filled with many a humdinger. Okay, we'll see you. Bye now.